Hey guys, it's HelpingHans here, going to be doing a Company Heroes 2 British Commander tier list for you here. I know this is long overdue, so here it is. Let's start up first. What do we have on the first commander here? We have the Advanced Emplacement Regiment. Right, so what do we think of this? This is the SimCity Commander. And in, like for average level players that play this game, this will do people very well because generally this is kind of hard to deal with if you don't know how to deal with it correctly. It can get out of hand and can be very nasty with multiple mortar pits and Bofors and things like that. Especially with when you've got things like the advanced repair assembly, which is helping repair the Bofors, the mortar pits, keeping them alive. Then you've got improved fortifications, which make them just more survivability as well. Also, defensive operations, infantry squads, and Royal Engineers are equipped with additional entrenching tools, allowing them to build additional emplacements and defenses. I think, if I remember correctly, it allows sections to repair emplacements as well. You've also got Hold the Line. Infantry units and friendly sectors gain increased defense. For me, that's kind of mid, but kind of makes sense with this commander because you're playing fairly defensive here. And then you've got a nice precision barrage here later on in the game to take out your opponents, maybe in static in place guns like LEFHs and things like that. But overall, for me, this commander isn't very good because people who know how to counter it will kill it quite quickly. And the ways you counter that is use rocket weapons and pack guns on attack ground and max range to take out these emplacements, or you get like LEIGs as OKW to bombard them, or even get the Go Firestorm, give yourself incendiary ammunitions and bombard them and take them down very quickly. There's a lot of other multiple ways to take down the SimCity. You can smoke, creep forward, incendiary grenades with Volks Grenadiers, things like that, Shreks with Panzer Grenadiers and stuff as well. So for me, I don't rate Advanced Emplacement Regiment very, very highly. So I'm going to probably pop it down at C tier. It still can be quite good, but is it C? Maybe it's even worse down to a D tier. I'm going to put it down to D tier. Can be used quite effectively in the right hands, but yeah, encourages bad habits is a good point as well. Sentry's just saying in chat, you shouldn't be reliant on these emplacement structures because they can easily get killed if you're not paying attention. Also, when you're trying to repair and defy, you're very likely to lose the squads as well. Next up, we have Commando Regiment. What do we think about the Commando Regiment, guys? Now, the commandos themselves are pretty damn good. You can get them in around the back, and those commandos will, be able to do very good damage in close quarters combat. However, the plane itself can be shot down, and there's a long wind-up time for the plane to actually arrive, giving the Axis players plenty of time to react and counter this incoming glider insertion. You've either got other abilities like Smoke, Raid Operation, Assault, fairly mid. Mortar Cover is okay, and Air Supremacy, that's pretty good for doing a huge bombing run to take out the German SimCity bunkers, the battle group headquarters, the Schwer, things like that. But overall, I'm not a massive fan of Commander Regiment because you can get commandos on much better commanders than this specific commander, in my opinion. So overall, I think it is very munitions heavy with all these abilities as well. You won't be able to, potentially use all the abilities because of how much munitions they cost. If you want to go for Air Supremacy, you won't be able to really spend that much munitions on Smoke, Raid, or Assault because you're saving up all your munitions for Air Supremacy because that's super expensive. So for me, Commando Regiment, I think it's better. Is it better than Emplacement? Probably, yeah. I think it's probably something like a C tier Commando Regiment. Right, then we have Lease. So this is pretty good. You get the assault sections. They can be later on be upgraded with Thompsons to increase their lethality. They are pretty good in CQC. You get them straight away, as well as a mortar team. You can only get mortars with the emplacement, the mortar emplacement pit. So having a mobile mortar for Brits is kind of handy, useful for smoke and taking out the early machine guns in buildings and things like that. And also the assault sections, you can give them a lift with your Brennan gun carrier to get them behind your opponent and do a nice early kind of rush strategy. Later on, you have access to the M10 tank destroyer as well, which is kind of a cheap kind of like dive-in unit to maybe you kind of push in to take out Stuka or rush in to overwhelm Axis mediums, things like that, which is pretty decent. Only good against vehicles though. Though to be honest, like M10's a weird one because I mean it's decent at crushing, but you've got a Firefly, and I'd probably rather a Firefly than an M10 because the Firefly has the tulip rockets as well. It has the range, and you can get some good 1-2 punches with the tulip rockets and follow through with the main primary weapon of the 17-pounder equipped on the Firefly, which does really good damage as well. So for me, I personally would, I don't really guess the M10's a good dive tank, but apart from that, yeah, it's kind of mid. The M5 half track, that's good for reinforcement, on-map reinforcement with a vehicle, which Brits don't have. They would have to build a forward assembly. This allows you to reinforce with a half track instead. Brits also can pop healing on the standard sections anyway, so they don't really need kind of like medics kind of thing, because they have it on their squads anyway. And it can also be upgraded with the M45 quad, so you can shoot down planes potentially. So pretty good unit there of the M5 half track. And then later on, you've got strafing support. 2 Hawker Typhoons target the designated area with rockets and machine guns. Pretty decent off-map ability, but planes, any kind of loiter, I'm not a massive fan of because they get shot down by anti-aircraft units. Even the Schwer, if activated, will help shoot down these planes. So I'm not a massive fan of any kind of loiter. Overall, I think this is somewhere like a B or an A commander. What do we think, chat? I don't think this is an S tier for me. It's pretty decent, but I wouldn't say it's S tier. I'm going to pop this in B for the moment, Lease. I think there are some better commanders in it, to be honest. Next up, my favorite commander, Mobile Assault Regiment. Instantly S tier for me for Mobile Assault Regiment. Now, why is Mobile Assault Regiment S tier? I've won tournaments with this commander. It is very, very good. The Royal Engineer Recovery Squad get to then salvage wrecks. So if any Axis vehicles get destroyed, you can salvage their wrecks for resources, which is very nice. They come out as 5 men as well, which is good. Then you've got the mortars we previously discussed, which is quite nice. The infiltration commandos, they start as a 3-man squad. When they infiltrate, you can spawn them in an ambient building, neutral building, and it's great to maybe get the jump on enemy units, so you get good wipe potential with that unit. And then later on, you can reinforce them to 5-man squads, and then they act like a normal commando squad. So I think it's a great kind of unit. Unlike the other commander, where you have that long kind of like wind-up time for them landing. These guys come in instantly and get the instant surprise factor. They don't instantly get their grenade, mind you, but they still have that, you could maybe finish off a retreating 1-man squad or something if used correctly, which is really good. Vehicle crew repairs is an S tier ability. Very good to activate that. You're not really utilizing that much munitions anyway with this commander because you haven't got really any off-map abilities. But so therefore you can utilize your munitions to repair your Cromwells and things like that at combat to get them back in the fight a lot faster. And then, oh my god, the land mattress is absolutely amazing. For Brits, they kind of lack a decent long-range artillery or mid to long-range artillery unit. The emplacement, the mortar emplacement doesn't really have the same kind of impact. Like, the Americans have a Calliope, the Soviets have a Katyusha, and the Brits, they kind of need the land mattress. The land mattress is the perfect unit to fight blobs, to fight support weapon spam, and it's just really good. And that's the only thing that Brits for me really lack. They lack that kind of indirect fire unit, and with this command you get it. They cover themselves on all bases with all their other units. Great tank destroyer with the Firefly, cheap and very effective medium tank like the Cromwell. They have Comets or Churchills if you want to spec and tech that way as well. So they've got some good late game heavy tanks without having to pick a commander anyway. And they've got, infantry sections themselves are really good. So yeah, definitely for me, a Mobile Assault Regiment is S tier. Next up, we have Royal Artillery Regiment. So you got early warning. Nearby artillery batteries fire flares periodically over a frontline sector, revealing the area. Which can be pretty good to give vision for all your teammates as well. So it's a good team game commander in that regard. Concentration barrage is pretty good as well. All available 25-pounders. So in the HQ to fire quickly at the targeted location. So you get 2 of those if you uptick up later on. So you get some good, good constant coverage and fire. Area denial kind of thing, which is pretty good. The Valentine, I mean, I would always pick a Cromwell over the Valentine, but the Valentine, I believe, has kind of like that vehicle detection, bit of kind of decent for reconnaissance, but it's not that good of because it's more of a light tank and it's quite squishy. I wouldn't be really utilizing the Valentine that often. The Sexton, any kind of slow firing artillery, personally I'm not a fan of. Like once one round is landed, then the enemy knows there's artillery landing in that area. They then disperse. But then you got things like the land mattress or the Calliope or the Katyusha. All those rockets are coming in very quickly, leaving your opponent not much time to react to avoid the initial spread. Sexton, on the other hand, is good for slow damage, maybe on your tier structures like the Schwer, battle group headquarters, things like that, or emplacements. So that's kind of good. But generally, I'm not a massive fan of the Sexton or any kind of like self-propelled howitzers, things like that. So it's kind of mid for me. Perimeter Overwatch orders all available 25-pounders in the British Army HQ to overwatch friendly territory for a set duration. Very good defensive ability, I would say. So if you're getting assaulted by a big attack, you activate that. you know, it'll stop your opponents maybe being so aggressive and pushing into your zone because they have to watch out for that period to Overwatch. It buys you time. I think great in team games because it covers all friendly sectors as well, which is very good. So for me, Royal Artillery, though, is it A tier? Is it S tier? No, I don't think it's S tier. I think it's pretty good, though, as an artillery commander. So for me, I'm going to give it probably A tier. I think it's probably worth an A tier because some good off-map artillery barrages. And I guess, you know, got to admit the Valentine, I believe, I think it's a call-in. I know it used to be a call-in, but I can't remember if it still is a call-in. Can someone in chat confirm for me if the Valentine... I haven't picked this commander in a long time myself, but I'm just trying to remind myself if the Valentine is a call-in, or do you build it from tier structure? I think it might be a call-in. Therefore, if it is a call-in, you know, it would boost it up, in my opinion, because then you haven't got to tech up for it, yeah. Might have to double-check and come back to that, but I think it was a call-in unit. Definitely used to be a call-in. I don't know if it is anymore. I know the Sexton is definitely a call-in unit. Let's go on to the next one. There we have Royal Engineer Regiment. Royal Engineer Recovery Squad. Again, great 5-man squad that can salvage wrecks, which is great. Designated command vehicle can be quite nice, but unfortunately they removed the ability to pop this on the universal carry. You can only put it on like an AEC or above now. Has to be kind of a light vehicle apart from the universal carrier, and I don't normally make AECs. I normally go straight for Cromwells, and I don't like popping this on my Cromwells because it nerfs the unit itself because it makes it slower rate of fire, but it does improve all nearby units, increase the recharge rates of all commander abilities, which is very handy. And it also has a recon loiter that you can activate for some munitions as well, which is quite handy. So it's a pretty decent ability, but I don't like nerfing my Cromwells by putting that on. I might try and force myself to get more AECs out and have that be the command vehicle in future to make that work. But overall, I think there's a pretty good ability with a lot of extra caveats to it. Vehicle crew repairs, again, a great ability, S-tier ability there for repairing all your vehicles out of combat. Then you've got another munitions ability here with the anti-building flame mortar support. You don't have to just drop this on buildings. You can drop this anywhere as an incendiary barrage, which is very good at, you know, area of denial, killing infantry, support weapons alike. So that's a pretty good ability. And then massive unit, which is just really well, and as a white machine, is the AVRE with its powerful petard mortar. For me, I think easily Royal Engineer is S tier because of that. Because it's just so good at wiping units. It's such a tanky unit as well. It can literally roll up, get hit by like 3 or 4 units, go down to 60% health, get his shot off, wipe a support weapon, and back off and still live, and you'd be fine. And you can use Cromwell Smoke in conjunction with the AVRE to let it creep forward or to cover it on its retreat. I normally would like going Anvil with this, so I can get the advanced repairs on my engineers to help get the AVRE back up into tip-top condition so it can get back onto the field and fire again as soon as possible. So yeah, AVRE is a really good unit in my eyes. Really good at wiping squads and stuff. So 100% is an S-tier commander for Brits. Next up, we have Special Weapons Regiment. Now, Special Weapons Regiment, what do we think about this one? So here you get tank hunters, which you can call on once you get 2 command points, and then you can then upgrade those tank hunters to have, I believe, Piats later on during the fight, so they get a bit more oomph. Now, you also get a resupply half-track, and that supply half-track allows you to drop Piats anyway, and Vickers. So, yeah, I guess the tank hunters are nice in a pinch early game if you're up against, like, Panzer IIs, 222s, Pumas, or whatever. That's kind of nice, but they're kind of very mid-tank hunters in my eyes. The resupply half-track, on the other hand, is great. You know, I love being able to drop Vickers Ks. You can't normally get them. You only get Brens or Piats from your HQ, so being able to have Vickers Ks is very, very nice. And it also can reinforce as well, which is very good. Kind of acts as a clown car. You can put maybe a squad of Piats inside and run around with it. So that's a pretty good half-track. Hold the line, fairly mid. Crocodile. Church of Crocodile. Now, this is very slow, but very good against infantry. For me personally, I would prefer a Pershing, possibly a Tiger, maybe to this, because of how slow it is. If it gets in trouble, it's hard to get out. When you do call it onto the field, it does come with 3 flares for the first time you use it, which is quite nice to give yourself vision over a specific area. And you can use that in conjunction with concentrated fire operation, which is the big off-map artillery barrage you get there for that for a munitions cost. But yeah, the Churchill Crocodile is good at killing infantry and stuff, but it is very slow, which I don't like. I like my vehicles to have quite a decent maneuverability. So if they get in trouble, you want to be able to get them out quickly. Overall, for me, I think this is kind of maybe, you know, it's up there. It's not an S tier, but for me, I think it's something like an A tier special weapons regiment, because, you know, the Churchill is good, Crocodile's good, but it's slow. Because I say the same thing about the AVRE, which is just also slow, but it has that instant wipe factor. Whereas, you know, if someone sees a Churchill Crocodile, generally they can run away before your unit gets toasted. The flamethrower on the Crocodile hasn't got as long as range as its primary gun either. So yeah, but for me, I would say it's kind of an A tier. Next up, we have Tactical Support Regiment. Here you get raid sections, which you can call in straight away at the start of a match. They excel at harassing enemy lines and mobile warfare. I believe these guys you can't upgrade the medical kits on, which can be quite annoying when you want to have kind of more squads on the field to pop your healing. But generally, they are a pretty decent squad. I think they come out as 5 men if I'm correct as well. So worth noting that you can't call in the raid section immediately as soon as the game starts. You're probably going to want to get 2 sections out normally, and then your third unit, you know, once you've got enough resources, you call on the raid section. And yeah, the raid section, it comes onto the field with 5 men, so you haven't got to upgrade the 5th man with the bolster squads over here. So that gives you that kind of 1 extra guy for extra firepower. They do have the ability to lob Molotovs. They have the ability to sprint once you get platoon command post up and running. And once that's upgraded, you don't even have to take grenades as well, so that's another good thing with them. So normally you'd have to get grenades teched to be able to lob grenades from your infantry sections, but these guys, as long as they got the platoon command post upgraded, they can lob their Molotovs, so it's a good area of denial, and they have a nice little sprint, so it allows them to close the distance potentially, or get behind a machine gun and flank it, which is quite nice. And also, they have the ability, once they get Vet 1, to lob down mines. Furthermore, once you've got weapon racks unlocked,
units can now use Pied launchers to take
you can upgrade them with 2 Vickers K machine guns, increasing their firepower substantially. And it's nice that you can just upgrade that. It is quite expensive, 120 munitions, but this does mean you don't have to retreat the squad all the way back to base to get the upgrades from the HQ. Because you know, later on in the game when you have the munitions for this, you probably might have a forward assembly, or your teammates got maybe an ambulance, and you don't want to retreat all the way back to HQ. Thankfully, you don't have to do that because you could just upgrade here from this button on this side over here, and also being able to put down mines is quite nice as well. Then command vehicle, yeah, pretty good again, as we discussed previously. We've also got the ability here to do air resupply.
Frontline supply and medical airdrops are coming in. Make haste to get them. Supplies about to be dropped as ordered.
So for 125 manpower and 80 fuel, you can drop down yourself a mortar and also a 6-pounder as well, along with 3 medical crates, which is very handy. Let's say, especially now with these guys, you can't upgrade the med kits like you can do in standard sections. These kits are going to be very nice. Also, these guys are benefiting from this air resupply while it's active for a short amount of time. Infantry units will move and reinforce faster in friendly territory while that is active as well, which is pretty good, which I actually didn't realise. It's been such a long time since I played this commander. But being able to drop down a 6-pounder and a mortar fairly cheaply actually is great, and the med kits will keep your guys on the field, and also your teammates can use these as well. And the mortar, you can't normally build a mortar for Brits, you can only build the mortar pits, so having a mobile mortar is pretty nice. So this is actually a really sick ability air resupply operation. You've also got access to the forward observation post, so let's quickly just grab something over here. So you have to have a squad over here you need to lob a squad inside the building. Be able to activate this. An ambient building,
support for our troops.
A forward observation post, and here it'll allow you to reinforce, I'm pretty sure. So let's just make sure we remove some dudes here. Yep, so you can reinforce off this. And you can also use the ability to drop some medical supplies for 20 munitions. You can drop smoke quite far forward with this building. Do a recon support run. Artillery cover once you get a company command post, and we'll just unlock that right now.
The new company command post is ready.
You can do a bit of artillery cover as well, so you're getting pushed with a tank, and you've also got the ability to do a strafing on air support. So a lot of nice abilities here with this. You can pop this on the ambient buildings. Once all the ambient buildings are gone, I do believe though you can still activate this on a forward assembly. So here now you've got the ability to convert this to an observation post. Thanks to the fact that you've got this.
Message received and
That's
understood.
100 manpower and 10 fuel, which is cheaper than what you would do if you would use it on an ambient building. But by doing that, you then get the ability to do all those abilities again that you saw in that previous building. Very nice. And yeah, you can have more than one. So you could put multiple of these around on the map if you wanted to have more coverage for these abilities. So that's pretty damn. Honestly, I think this is actually pretty damn good. And then once again, you got the Churchill Crocodile, very good late game tank, but it is slow. Overall, though, I would say this is a pretty good commander. Is it S tier? I'm not sure. I think it's definitely I think quite strong in 1v1 and team games. So yeah, is it S tier? It's definitely A tier. Is it S tier? Raid section's good. Yeah, this is all. Honestly, all of these abilities are good, especially with all these off maps that you get with this. This is pretty damn strong. Quite heavily with munitions though, to be honest, but it gives you a nice variety of abilities to use. You know what? I'm gonna change it to S tier. I think it is very good. I think it deserves to be up there with S tier with all these extra abilities you get. Thanks to your forward observation posts. Air resupply is very good. Race sections are solid early game firepower as well. And the Churchill Crocodile late game is very good. Yeah, so I think it's S tier. Right, so the last commander we have here is Vanguard Operations. We were just using it in a match. So you've got raid operation, allows your infantry and British vehicles to capture points quickly. Use this to break through enemy lines. That can be pretty decent, but it's fairly mid overall. Forward logistics glider. Now, you call this in for about 200 manpower, and then you can upgrade it again to act as a forward retreat point. It doesn't spawn anything when it lands, but it does allow you to make a commando squad, a mortar team, a machine gun team, I believe, as well as a 6-pounder, which is quite nice. It's very nice having a forward kind of like deploy point potentially, and you can repair it as well to keep it alive if you want to. And as a forward retreat point, so it's pretty nice. Allows you to get some decent utility there. So you can use this instead of making a forward assembly, and it'll come in a lot quicker than you building a forward assembly. Because obviously you need to use an engineer squad to do and take that squad off the front line to build the forward assembly. So you get this in straight away. Vehicle crew repairs, again, another S tier ability for me. With repairing of vehicles is great. Crocodile, yeah, pretty good late game tank. And then later on we have the strafing support. Is a loiter again. Easy shot down by SFIRs and anti-aircraft vehicles. So that's fairly mid. It's not S tier, it's something like an A or a B tier for me. I don't know. Is it going up to A tier? Doesn't have that extra infantry. I think, yeah, I think it's more of a B tier, to be honest. Forward logistics glider is quite nice. One downside to doing this is it makes it obvious to your opponent where your forward HQ is, potentially, because they'll see the glider coming in, and then they'll be at nowhere to bombard in the future. So that's kind of a downside to the forward logistics glider, as with any glider. But yeah, I think for me, I'm going to put this on B tier. Does get the commanders from the glider, which is kind of nice, but kind of late. Oh, it's not really that late, to be honest. Commanders from the glider. Commanders can be very, very good. What's that also on B tier? Lease. Is it on par with Lease? Assault sections can be quite nice as well. The M5. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that. We'll agree to disagree, but this is my British Commander tier list. So for S tier, Mobile Assault, Royal Engineer and Tactical Support. Then we have an A tier, Royal Artillery and Special Weapons. B tier is Lease, Vanguard Operations. C is Commando Regiment. And D is Advanced Emplacements Regiment. Wonder if you agree or disagree. Let me know in the comments section below if you're watching on the YouTube later on. But this is it. This is official. And yeah, I definitely think personally my favourite commander for Brits is Mobile Assault, followed probably by Royal Engineer. I probably should play some more Tactical Support. I used to play it quite a lot, I think, when I used to play CO2 many years ago. But I'll probably play some more Tactical Support because I forgot how good a lot of the abilities were in it. But yeah, there we guys go. Hope you enjoyed. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that video. If you want to check out more content, check up over here and over here. But if you also really like the content and want to show your support even more so, please consider becoming a member on YouTube. I'm trying to save up more money at the moment because I am planning to move to Japan soon, next year in April, where I'm going to be studying the Japanese language for a couple of years. So if you want to help support me and my endeavors, please do consider becoming a member. As always, take care guys, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.